शुरू शुरू बेल लगाओ
जी
May I come in, sir?
come in please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, take your seat please.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, this is Shakti Dubey. You are from University of Allahabad. Did your graduation?
Yes, sir.
After that, did you do anything post graduation?
Yes, sir. I did my post-graduation from Banaras Hindu University in biochemistry, which I have completed in 2018.
Okay. You see, are you aware of one particular organic microbe which is used for, when there is a oil spill, natural crude oil, there is a lot of pipelines, they spill in the farmers' fields and they destroy the entire land, crops, even the land is destroyed. But there is a naturally growing bacteria, organic, naturally growing, not organic, or naturally growing, which eats up this is an organic substance which is eating up inorganic oil is inorganic this thing. Are you aware of these microbes?
Sir, name of the microbes I'm not aware. I'm sorry.
But yes, what does it do? I mean,
So basically,
how do they eat up the organic body, eating up like you are eating up this thing, glass of anything,
so
poisonous
basically
substance?
certain microorganisms, they have such build up metabolism, they have certain enzymes which basically break down these other chains or that chains are present in this oil, etc., the oil molecules. So they have capacity, emulsifiers, etc., are there naturally in their body. So these microbes are basically being used in such places where oil spills takes place, where they will take the oil, they will act on it with the help of the enzyme, and it is broken down in smaller
India is
parts.
one of the pioneers in developing this technology. Which body or approximately, do you have an idea which organization inside India has developed this technology?
No, sir, I'm sorry. I'm not sure.
Okay. Biotechnology is also used for nowadays waste management in a very, very big way, waste management, both solid as well as liquid. So now, given a choice, you are in charge of municipal commissioner of a huge like West Bengal, the Delhi or Calcutta or something, huge piles of organic versus inorganic waste. So, some of you are given, you said as your background of biotechnologist.
Yes,
So you said you will solve this problem through biotechnology, your own subject of specialization.
Yes, sir.
How will you do that?
So if we talk about the organic waste that is there, they can be used for converting them into compost, which can further be used as manures
It's
on
a
the field.
huge, I mean, it will be millions and millions of tons, like a landfill site. Or
Yes, sir. So in such case, these genetically engineered microorganisms, they can be created, can be produced, so that they can rapidly pace up the degradation of this organic manures and can help in creation of compost if there is an organic waste. In case of inorganic waste that we are having, these inorganic waste at the other time can also be first properly insulated. For example, the landfill sites that have been created, there also we can have these microorganisms genetically engineered, so as to ensure that they do not completely lie down for several years basically unbroken or unmetabolized. For that we can use. However, we know that there are certain limitations of the microbes. Inorganic waste cannot be completely broken down. So for that, different technologies or different methods have to be further taken up.
वीडियो में आगे बढ़ने से पहले यूपीएससी का रिजल्ट आ चुका है। अनअकैडमी की तरफ से सभी यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स को हार्दिक बधाइयां और इस खास दिन को सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए हम लाए हैं अब तक का सबसे बड़ा ऑफर। प्रीलिम्स 2026 की तैयारी सिर्फ 19,999 में और साथ ही मिलेगा 12 महीने तक का फ्री एक्सटेंशन भी। इंडिया के टॉप एजुकेटर्स और बेस्ट कंटेंट के साथ ये है अब तक का लोवेस्ट प्राइस। तो देर किस बात की, आज ही एनरोल करें। IAS बनने का पहला कदम आज से। लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। एनरोल नाउ।
Okay, little the other areas. What is the problem in the South China Sea? South China Sea, there are two superpowers. One is superpower, one is not so super, but is a power. There is constant battle in the small fights, skirmishes in the South China Sea, causing a lot of problem to India. So, can you identify these three agencies, superpower is not so they are constantly fighting and impacting India's some strategic interest.
So there are certain island nations, island regions that are there in the South China Sea. For example, Spratly, Paracel and Scarborough Shoal, etc., for which China has been basically claiming to own those islands, which has led to conflict with other Southeast Asian nations like Vietnam is there that is contesting, or Indonesia is there. So these countries are
Major nowadays, I say last few weeks there is a constant problem with neither of them, as you are saying. Yes, constant problem where the two navies are going here and there, and there are a lot of chances of the war spilling over beyond South China Sea.
Sabhi recent development I'm not aware about. I'm sorry.
Recent development, what you are saying is not correct. Because there is another power which is very much into the problem with China. China is constantly blocking their, and there is a constant complaint in the news and all that.
Sorry,
That
sir,
is
I'm not
Philippines.
aware of it. Okay, I'm not aware.
Now, how they are impacting India's interest, these skirmishes, etc., and the belligerent role of China, how it is impacting India's strategic interest in South China Sea.
So if we look at the China's growing aggressive stance in the South China Sea is a cause of concern, because similarly we have seen
There is a specific strategic interest India has in South China Sea, which is being impacted because of Chinese belligerence in that area. What specific interest?
Sir, sorry, I'm not aware about any specific.
Oil. They have got huge amount of oil in the South Vietnam, which India, ONGC cannot go and start drilling because of this. Indian Chinese army is blocking that advent of ONGC and the other oil, basically ONGC. Thank you.
Okay, Shakti, you read chemistry for 7 years or more.
Sir, 3 years in bachelor's.
In 12th you studied chemistry,
Yes, sir.
2 years.
Yes, sir.
Then you studied chemistry for your graduation.
Yes, sir.
Then you switched over to biochemistry
Yes, sir.
in MSc.
Yes, sir.
Then what prompted you to take political science?
Sir, because
Why not chemistry?
Sir, because in chemistry, first thing was that I did not had a complete specialization. My area was biochemistry, which is a life science subject, and it is not offered as an optional curriculum of UPSC. I chose political science because of two things. First was my interest in the subject, and second was because it has a bit overlap with the GS that helped me cover both the things simultaneously.
Okay. You have studied Marx.
Yes, sir.
He spoke of 3 types of alienation.
Sorry, sir.
Alienation.
Alienations.
Tell me, what are the 3 types?
Marx has basically talked about the alienation that takes place due to capitalism. First, he says the man gets alienated from the product of his own labor, because that has been did, and further he gets alienated from the society, and this is the reason that becomes for his complete alienation from the larger perspective or the world or the society at large. So these are the 3 levels that I can recall just now.
No, the third one is from self.
From self, yes.
Alienation from self.
First, yes, sir.
Alienation from the product,
From
alienation
society.
from the society, and
Third is
alienation
from
from the self. Okay, can you compare Plato's philosopher king with Machiavelli's prince?
So if we talk about Plato's philosopher king, he is basically talking about a person who is having reason. He basically talks about reason in man, and he is a symbol of sacrifice and knowledge. These are 2 things which he talks about, and he has built this concept of philosopher king on ideas. However, if you look at Machiavelli, he talks about the prince based on the political reality, and hence he is also known as father of political realism. He basically talks about the actual nature of the politics. He says directly that the prince has to be ruthless, the prince has to be very brutal, has to be brave, as well as has reason. So he further adds on to the feature of philosopher king that Plato has given. Apart from reason, he has also added courage, and he has also added the perspective of political reality to it.
So as an administrator, where you will be? Philosopher king or prince?
So I think there is a need to be balance between the both. I think there has to be a specific amount of reason that an administrator must hold. At the same time, the administrator must be aware about the realities that are going on at every front, and I think must hold on to the principles of service at the highest level.
Okay. Machiavelli said that end justifies the means.
Yes, sir.
And Mahatma Gandhi said, means are as important as the end.
Yes, sir.
So what will be your position?
So in my opinion, they both have its own significance at different places. However, I think what is in our control is choosing the right means. At times, the end cannot be predetermined. So I think at first place, choosing the right means should be the correct option, and then we should proceed on looking at the ends.
But at times, for national interest, especially in foreign service,
Yes, sir.
you may have to adopt a means which is not correct as per Gandhiji.
Yes, sir.
So what will you do?
So that is what I mentioned, that there are different scenarios in which we have to we need to evaluate the situation and then look at it. However, given a chance where the national security is at the stake, I think choosing the appropriate end, that is protecting the national interest, should be the prime priority.
So you will follow the Buddha's middle path. Okay. Your second preference is Indian Police Service.
Yes, sir.
Recently we amended all the 3 criminal laws.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me 3 positive developments?
So the recent changes that have been done in the criminal laws, I think first will be, there has been changes made to the provisions of related to seditions, which were very draconian in the original law. They have been made little bit less stringent. This is one that I can recall. Rest I need to read about that, sir. I'm not able to recall it.
Rajdroh has been replaced by Deshdroh.
Yes.
But what is the difference? Rajdroh and Deshdroh?
So Rajdroh basically talks about allegiance to the king or the government, whereas Deshdroh talks about allegiance to the nation, as per my limited understanding.
Okay, all right. You write poems.
Yes, sir.
Can you recite 2 lines
So of a poem that I wrote?
that you have written?
Yes, sir. So I've written a poem with title, What Do You Write? I write the sky and also moon. I write the moon. I write the sky and also moon. I write the darkness and also noon. I write the craving and all the urge. I write the ways the ocean merge.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Shakti.
Fine, sir. Thank you.
Shakti, you have studied biochemistry for long.
Yes, sir.
Related discipline is when we talk about biotechnology and
Yes, sir.
other areas. Tell me, what exactly is antimicrobial resistance and why it is such a challenge?
So the antimicrobial resistance is a major health challenge because basically it takes place when proper antibiotic dose is not being taken. The microbes in the body, they become resistant to it because a small or specific amount of the antibiotics has been provided. However, the course is not completed. Now this becomes a very big challenge specifically for disease that are like, for example, tuberculosis, which are caused by such microbes, and these are prevailing at in a larger population, so they have become a cause of concern.
So, when we talk about, say, something like MDR, TB, is there a way to handle it by developing more antibiotics and hence causing even more antimicrobial resistance in the population, or there can be some other ways?
So there has to be some different ways. Always inventing more antibiotics will not solve the problem. It can be a temporary solution though to tackle patients of MDR TB. However, there is a need to make the population aware about how that they should not go for self-prescription of antibiotics. In case there is an antibiotic prescribed by the doctor, they have to complete the course. So I think basically educating the masses is one of the very important thing in case of antibiotic resistance.
You've taken political science as your optional.
Yes,
If you look at Indian Constitution as a document, it is written by a body which was predominantly a male body. Almost all members, maybe 8, 11 or 12 women, maybe even less. What are the reflection in this document which suggest that it is written by a predominantly male body, Constituent Assembly?
Sorry sir, I need to just look at that. I'm not
Okay, forget about Constituent Assembly. Give me in general a feminist critique of Indian Constitution.
So there have been certain provisions like we talk about in Indian Constitution. There were debates regarding, for example, the reservation of women that has that has not been accepted in the Constituent Assembly back then. There is also the concept like UCC, which has now been coming into picture, has not been made a fundamental right, rather it has been kept into DPSP, which is also can be looked at from the perspective of women, especially in the personal sphere. So these are two things that I can recall just now.
Okay. Like gender, there is another important social category that's generally considered very important. It is caste.
Yes, sir.
Why government is opposing the idea of caste census? The union government is opposing it, despite the fact in the last attempt they actually spent a huge amount of money in conducting that caste survey all around the country and then not publishing its results.
Yes, sir. So one of the reasons that I can think could be that we do not have a proper central document or list of the caste in the country. We do not have a proper documentation of them. Different states have different castes, and there is also in India we see within a single caste also there are different names that are given to similar kind of caste, that leads to also multiplicity of counting in them. So this can further create a problem, specifically with respect to say like the reservation policies etc. that the government is bringing. So I think this could be one of the reasons.
What else? I mean, it appears to be more academic.
Yes,
It doesn't appear to be a political science reason. Government don't decide on the basis of academics, unfortunately.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir, I need to read about that.
You've also mentioned that you like poetry, you have recited one, but I could never understand what is the function of poetry. Why do we need poetry in the society?
So if I tell my perspective that why do I write poetry?
No, I want to know what is the function of poetry in the society.
So poetry is basically a way of expression. It is a way of expression through which has plays a very important role. For example, we can take the example of national independence movement. During that time also poems, poetry, slogans, quotes, they have helped in reaching to the larger population, to the masses, because these are very like in an easy decipherable way they are being written that reach to the masses and can help them in understanding. They are also a source of expressing imaginations, or we can talk about or expressing somebody's vision. So I think this is one of the role of poetry.
If that is the case, tell me two poems post-independence that you believe that have made any impression on Indian psyche, written post-independence. Any language?
Sir, exactly I'm not able to
Not
recall
even
any
one? Hindi, English, Urdu, Punjabi, there are 20 languages.
Yes, sir. So I'm not able to recall any as of now.
Does it indicate that the emphasis on poetry is misplaced?
So I won't say it is misplaced. It has its own importance in literature, in the realm of literature. However, we can see that with increase in the advent of basically the digital technologies, or with the advent in films, medias, which has become much more prominent, the importance of poetry or writing literature, etc. is going down in the recent times.
And what is replacing these?
So the present time we have seen that now especially the availability of the digital media, like the digital books we have that are available. We also have the films, movies that are available on OTT platforms very easily now. So this has made the things much more easier to access, and with the advent of penetration of internet etc. has made the things more dependent on digital way of life.
Okay, thank you, Shakti.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Shakti, you have studied political science as your optional subject.
Yes, sir.
Recently, Lok Sabha passed a law reserving 1/3 seats for women.
Yes, sir.
Is that only for Lok Sabha or also for all state assemblies?
So this is for the Lok Sabha as well as the state legislature
You are
assemblies.
sure of that?
Yes, sir.
Federal government has power to make such changes in the state assemblies also.
So for the uniformity, in my limited knowledge, I think yes, it is there for both the state as well as the center.
Okay, all right. You are right. That's correct. Now, there are a lot of political parties which have now become effectively family firms as regards the leadership. What can be done to disperse this kind of a concentration of power, and also to allow a proper leader to emerge from the ground on his own merit?
So I think internal democracy in the party itself can be one of the major reasons.
Who will enforce it? Not the leadership, right?
Yes, sir, that will not be
So
possible.
who will, is there a role for an external agency, another government body or someone?
So in my limited understanding, I think there is external pressure or external views, I think, of any other body cannot be done. Parties are made on based on their agenda, based on their objective. These parties are being formed. However, if we want to inculcate such principles, laws can be brought to ensure inter-party elections or inter-party democracy.
You mean intra-party, you mean?
Yes, sir, intra-party.
Okay,
sorry,
okay. So election commission also can intervene if he wants to strengthen the party system of democracy in India. They have some mandate, some role in this regard?
So with respect to intra-party democracy, I am not aware. However, election commission has powers with respect to registration of the political parties or election symbols, etc.
Right. So those criteria can be applied.
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving on to the international affairs, you have seen that 8 Navy personnel have been recently brought back after getting acquitted. Now, they made a mistake or illegal things knowingly, for which they were convicted.
Okay, sir.
Now, this is likely to encourage many NRIs or Indians abroad to do things and then seek Indian government's intervention.
Yes, sir.
Which one is the right way for government of India to do? Every time any Indian is convicted, Indian government should move in, or what should be the...
Sir, in the recent case of the Qatar that we have seen, the reports have only said that these were charged of espionage, and when the Indian government has intervened and has granted the power. However, this should not be done. This should not be done in every case where the sovereign government who have convicted them should have the right to properly interrogate the case, go through it properly. However, the Indian diaspora or the Indian personals, if they are there, they have the opportunity to approach the Indian government, where the Indian government should take the stand based on the proper research and should not be done just for sake because they are Indians and to bring them back. So I think.
So these people were put behind bars in August 2022.
Yes, sir.
And earlier was a capital punishment, then it became commuted to life, and thereafter Indian government. So we don't know whether Indian government should take credit for this, because their conviction seems to be as per their own court judicial system.
Yes, sir.
Unless we consider Qatari judicial system to be a kangaroo court, in which case Indian government has all reasons. But so far it doesn't look like. The judicial system works pretty effectively
Yes, sir.
in these sheikdoms. So should, the government, as you say, that Indian government should not always do this.
Yes, sir.
Even though these fellows made crime to earn money for doing espionage or whatever, which was not in the line of duty. They went beyond to make extra money, and they have now been doubly benefited by coming back to India also. So are they going to be forgiven, or they have to complete their punishments in India?
So this was basically a pardon statement that was granted by the Emir. He has pardoned them of the death sentence that was basically been awarded. Yeah, now they are back in India. In my opinion, there are no further charges that they have to go back and complete. They have been acquitted of the charges as per my opinion.
Well, no, I think there are still some more. Media is writing it, we have to see.
Okay.
They may complete some tenure of their judgment.
Okay.
They have been pardoned, or they have been just allowed. In a way you can say pardoned,
Yes.
but the court system is a sheikhdom, so court system convicts and the sheikh
Has pardoned.
gives them. Okay, now another thing, Russia-Ukraine war, what do you think, which side is to be blamed?
So if we look at Russia-Ukraine war, I think taking side at this moment will not be justified, because both have committed, both have overstepped their own, that should not have been done. First, at the first place, Russia, being a powerful and a larger nation, has basically always dominated the region, especially the USSR, the nations who were part of USSR back then. However, Ukraine has also not evaluated the long-term effect and has directly come into confrontation. I think both of them need to get back to solution and dialogues and arrive at a bilateral solution.
Who started the war?
So it was basically the aggression, I think, that was carried out by Russia at the first
So
place.
should they not be held responsible?
Yes, sir, they are responsible because they being a big nation, being almost a superpower, they should have basically taken a responsible step when they know that such kind of act will have a repercussion in a longer run.
Yeah, so isn't the West and the NATO fully justified in standing up to Russia?
So I would not say that it is fully justified in standing up to Russia, because this basically emerged when the issue arose when Ukraine has expressed its willingness to join NATO, which has always been a cause of concern for Russia. While Russia at times has also proposed that it wants to join NATO, while US has never accepted this and has always done or basically stepped into the issues that have hurted Russia's national interest. So I think this should not be done. Both of the nations, both the sides, as I can see, have done something that has led to the stretching of this war till today.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Shakti, you can wait outside and we will call you back for the feedback.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
May I come in, sir?
Come in, please. Shakti, take your seat. Take your seat, please.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, your fourth attempt and first interview.
Yes, sir.
Have you appeared in any other correction before UPSC?
No,
Any
sir.
other exam, nothing?
No, sir.
Okay. When is the interview?
So 14th of March.
14th, so 1 month.
Yes,
Enough
sir.
time. Now, you have taken mocks earlier, apart from this.
Yes, sir.
What are the substance there? Main feedback.
So there was issues related to framing of answers, that you should speak in more structured way. One, this feedback I've got. Second, long answers are a bit long, so that I have to work on. And second was the speed at which I'm speaking. I need to slow down my speed. So these were three common
Subject,
feedbacks.
knowledge wise.
So in beginning of 1-2 mocks, I did receive some input on my knowledge thing, but from past few mocks, it has been comparatively better.
Okay. Now, Shakti, fourth attempt and you are going on in here. So, this is the attempt you have to capitalize, monetize. This is called monetization.
Yes.
You cannot do any more efforts on monetization.
Yes.
You have to sell your this thing, everything, family wires, everything, and get it to crack this exam. Now, how do you do it? There are two types of questions you can expect. One is knowledge based and one is opinion based.
Yes, sir.
Generally, there are two types there. Unless, of course, you irritate them further, they are going to a kind of a, they normally they are professionals.
Yes, sir.
Opinion based, you must have an opinion. You can't say I don't have an opinion, because based on everything what is happening around the world or has happened in the world. So there, you can solve this problem of just letting go of your, because you are quite well, you are well spoken. It is not expected from Prayagraj. Your English is quite okay because of the school perhaps. Now they have taught you well conversation, but you have to maximize that. You have to take advantage of that by listen to the question very attentively to the end. There will be a lot of discussions, etc. Then suddenly the interviewer will say some point. If you just latch on to that subject and miss that point, then you can start on a wrong note. So listen to the end. When you keep quiet and then you expect you to speak up to that point.
Okay.
Then don't react before you stops. Sometimes you don't understand, so you just dragging. Time is in your hand, in his hands, not your captive audience there.
Yes.
Now you listen to the end, and then in your mind's computer you structure your responses point wise, crisp and short sentences. First point, sir, most important point first. So firstly, and little more humility perhaps will do you wonders. You are such a presentable young girl, so little more humility. They want a humble young person, boy or girl.
Yes, sir.
Humility.
Okay, sir.
But that doesn't mean you have no opinion. Have your opinion, well constructed, well thought of opinion. We should not normally budge from there. Unless of course you are committed a faux pas or something. That is not, but you have thought through, then somebody has an attack. How do you do that and all that? Sorry, sir. There could be other point of view, but I have my opinion, like that. Now, structure a point, most important point first, second, next important order of importance, 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Sometimes people forget how to stop also. So stopping is very important.
Yes,
Because
sir.
then there will be could be counter question, 2 options, counter question, supplementaries, more knowledge of them, all change the subject. But suppose you let go without structurization, as very correctly said last, structurization means point wise, bullets. Then you may miss the main point. Because you really, you want them to know your most important point, but you have forgotten. Because in the heat of the moment, if you structure it well, take a few seconds, that is one. Secondly, you are a little far. Now, if you do the structurization point wise, your speed also will reduce. So you have to kind of thought through.
Okay.
They will tell very thoughtful answers,
Okay.
and you will give a pause also.
Yes,
So it seems that here you have gone through the entire thing and now you are considered views.
Yes, sir.
That is what knowledge, either you know or you don't know. Suppose you like to take a guess. Sir, can I take a guess, sir? Take the permission.
Okay. Okay.
If they say normally they say yes. Then if you go wrong, they will not mind. But if you just make a wild goose chase or something, then you're wrong. Mostly it will go wrong. So you'll feel a bad
Yes, sir.
impression. And now about your subject, you have enough time. Your
Yes, sir.
biotechnology, this curriculum thing, well, mostly you are not really brushed it up. You have to brush it up. There are so many things, new technology happening in the biotechnology field.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There are so many things like oil eating bacteria. There are a lot of articles there.
Yes, sir.
ONGC actually is doing
Yes,
it. There
sir,
is
yes,
one
sir, I
agency, OTBL they call it. ONGC Terry Biotech Limited.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'll
So
read about
that
that.
scallop or something. Oil eating bacteria something. There is a technical name.
Okay, sir.
So like that, I mean, oil and gas sector is important. So this is a very important bacteria which has been developed by them. Or in Germany they developed.
Okay.
And then other areas, even in the oil and gas field, there are a lot of biotechnology that doing a lot of work.
Yes, sir.
So go through that. It is an important sector for India.
Yes, sir.
And the other sectors also biotechnology, the policies, biotech policies, what is the biotech policy of government. And then there are so many other related issues.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of laws, because there are a lot of BT cotton type of things are
Yes, sir. They're
genetically
genetically
modified. So a lot
modified.
of acts to regulations must be thorough with them.
Yes, sir.
And we couldn't ask many things like economy, budget, foreign relations. So there is a television serial called CNN IBN.
Okay.
It is called First Post. The
Yes,
lady
sir.
called Palki Sharma. You
Yes,
must
I
be
listen
seeing
to
that
her.
every day. Don't miss that.
Yes, sir. I listen to.
Every day happening, new
Yes, sir.
things happening, old things fading away. So it's just churning every day, every
Yes, sir.
evening or something.
Yes,
So don't be very attentive. English newspaper, one economic, normal and economic. At least go through the headlines and many important things. Just make your own points. Practice a little bit because there it will happen. They are too tongue-tied and they are too energized to really think through. So you'll have to have some background, some preparation. And so that's that. If you do that systematically, the sum and substance, don't put additional pressure on your mind. Don't overthink. If you don't overthink, you will crack it. If you overthink, because 1 month is a long period.
Yes,
So
sir.
getting excited, overthinking, spending sleepless nights, etc., then you may miss it. Don't miss it. This is your year. You have to crack it. 4th attempt is too long.
Yes,
You
sir.
should not delay it any further. But you are there. You are there, absolutely there, knocking on the door. But you get it at least.
Yes, sir. I will
So you
work
have to
on
get
that.
it now.
Yes, sir.
And maybe after a few weeks you can come back to us or anybody else. You are in Prayagraj, you check up with local also. That improve. You must improve before a mirror. Sit down before a mirror. Diction, little slow structure. Just see how it looks.
Okay.
You can also see yourself.
Yes, sir.
So all the way, Shakti Dubey.
Thank you so
We
much.
want you in the list
Thank you,
this
sir.
year.
Thank you so much.
All the
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And dress that particular day, you will not be dressed like that.
No, no, sir. I'll be wearing
Proper
sari. Yes, sir.
Shoes will be
Yes,
different.
sir. Yes, sir.
Shoes,
That.
normal, but you practice it before it.
Okay, sir.